Chapter 28. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare, to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of mine head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together, and came and pitched at Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her, and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself, and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die? And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up to thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. As for the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. Because thou obeyedst not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth, and was sore afraid, because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in thy hand, and have hearkened unto thy words, which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way. But he refused, and said, I will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him, and he hearkened unto their voice. So he arose from the earth, and sat upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted and killed it, and took flour, and kneaded it, and did bake unleavened bread thereof. And she brought it before Saul, and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up, and went away that night. Here we see a situation where Saul does something really stupid. It was not the first time, but this one's. He has sent out a law that basically eliminated, killed all the witches, all the wizards, all the people who had familiar spirits or claimed to be able to call up the dead, whatever, and to foretell the future. He had tried all the legitimate ways that Heavenly Father had established in order to get inspired answers as a result of prayer or prophets or Urim and Thummim, whatever. He tried it all, got nothing. So then he did what you should never do. He tried to find somebody who theoretically, this is all fraudulent, but who could theoretically call up some spirit of some dead person, and that spirit would know what was going to happen in the future, and the person who called them up, theoretically called them up, would be the one that they would communicate through. Now, all of that is from Satan. We know that. None of it is real in the sense of Heavenly Father being involved in it. And Satan will use events like that to tell a little bit of truth, to make it seem like, whoa, this is really good, and a lot of lies. And some people get amazed and amused at this and think it's so great, grand, and wonderful. And that was Saul's problem. The woman said, who do you want? And he said, call me up Samuel. The woman would have known who Samuel was, so she could describe him, an old man with a mantle. Well, I saw gods going up and back and forth out of the earth. And they're basically saying, I saw this old man with a mantle. What else are you going to describe Samuel as? He was an old man with a mantle. The mantle was his priesthood, as role as a prophet. And she just described what she theoretically saw. And Saul basically said, whoa, that must be Samuel. And so he wants to know what the future is going to hold. And so what happens is this woman gets an answer from Satan, which she then passes off, maybe unwittingly, maybe knowingly, as though it is from the real Samuel, who is dead and who is not called up, because nobody has the ability to call up spirits of people who are dead. Nobody, not ever, anytime, no what at all. And this woman gives the message that she figures she's gotten. It turns out to be pretty accurate, because Saul and his sons all died the next day, and so do a lot of other people. And Saul is so upset with this, he's not going to eat. He gets faint and all the rest of it. She prepares some food, and they persuade him to eat. And then the essence is over. But here's the point. All the witches, all the people who are going to call up spirits of dead people, all the people who are going to prognosticate the future on the basis of tea leaves or chicken bones or Legos or whatever. It's all a fraud. And it has only one purpose. All the astrology, the whole shot, all the numerology, all the card stuff are all fraudulent, satanic oriented, satanic based. And that's the Lord's telling you. If you want to really have a horrendous time, just try playing with that stuff and find out just how bad it is.